Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
(11:02) the morning after Super Bowl, and what an interesting, I think we can say that, an interesting Super Bowl it was. Thank you very much for joining us on the Lock Shop. If you were here just to hear what Huss has to say, I guess give us a thumbs up and sub to the channel if you haven't already. We're going four-man weave the morning after the Super Bowl. How can we not? It'll be Jake, it'll be Pat, it'll be myself, and it will be Huss, the man of the hour. So we will get into that. Kevin Van Dossler over in the Nasty Chat says the biggest surprise for me was that KC just didn't have an answer. It was wild seeing that thing unfold the way that it did, and even when it was like 17, and then you're looking at it 17-0, and then before half, when it was 24-0, you're like, man, if they can just score here at the end, before the half, they might have a fighting chance, and it didn't happen. It just didn't happen. So we're gonna get into all of that. Huss, Pat, Jake, and myself. Obviously, we'll get into some Four Nations stuff as well. Canada on the ice today. Got some line combinations. There's a bunch of futures up. We went over those this morning. Locked in McKinnon at 9-1 to lead the tournament in scoring. Don't hate the McCarr number there either, but we'll get into that a little bit as we work our way through today's show as well. Of course, you can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, and we will get to a few of your text messages there. How about Lieutenant Eric toughing through the hangout for like half an hour too? Oh, that was a tough one. That was a tough one. But like I said, we'll get to Four Nations. We might even be sprinkling a little NBA over the next couple of weeks as well. We'll get some resets on some NHL futures, and CFL free agents. You'll always keep Huss and I busy around here as well. All right, Patty's going to pop in at some point, but I don't know if we wait for Pat so he's here for Huss. Man, where's Patty? I don't want Pat to miss this. Let's where is he? Circle City for me right now. He's trying to get in. Can he get in, Trevor, or what?
He wasn't, but his camera wasn't going through.
Oh, okay. So a quick reset. Okay, well, let's just wait 1 second.
Oh, there he is. Okay,
he's here. They're going to reconnect. We all have to be here together for this moment. 780-218-9999, and over in the Nasty Chat. Interesting Super Bowl. I mean, a lot of different things you can look at. Jalen Hurts pretty much lights out, 17-22, 221, couple touchdowns, ran for a touchdown, had 72 yards on the ground. Saquon, they kept giving it to him, couldn't do much with it. Huss was right on that read. 2.3, the average for Saquon, but they still gave him the ball 25 times. And all right, we got everybody here together. Let's bring a distraught Huss onto the show today. Huss, the floor is yours, my man.
Well, listen, that was an absolute ass kicking. Congratulations to the Eagles. I mean, they hit him with the Gatorade before the 2-minute warning. They could have done it in the third quarter, to be honest with you. Very disappointing. Vibes of the Tampa game 4 years ago. And you know what's funny, guys? So, of course, that was Mahomes losing to Brady, which was even worse. I went into TSN the next day. I had to hear about it for the full 3 hours of the show. And I remember at the end of that program saying, you know what? I could have easily taken today off. By the way, it should be a holiday the day after this. We need to get to that.
We can agree on that.
One more year or one more week, and then we'll have Nirvana. But I said a smaller man would not have been here today to face the music. I've done it. We move on. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the show. And then the next morning, we all got fired. So eating it for 3 hours was, in fact, the final show of 10 plus years on the old station.
That's crazy. That's the way you went out, buddy. My God.
Yeah. 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 If you actually would listen to those final minutes on the station, what I was doing, it was a summary of that one. And listen, it felt like it. I mean, the line of scrimmage. And again, like if I told you that the Chiefs were going to do such a good job of eliminating Saquon Barkley from really being a factor last night, you would have thought, okay. But it was the front four of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Man, were they good.
And guys, remember when the Giants beat Brady and the Patriots? Well, what did they do? They made his life miserable. They were on him all, and they never had to blitz once. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, those four guys terrorized Mahomes, forced him into plays that he shouldn't be making, tough decisions. And again, I mean, they had one first down in the first half. I mean, it was an absolute blowout and kind of shocking, very depressing, but that's a hell of a football team. And you know what? Sirianni got it. I'll give Sirianni a little bit of credit here.
Whoa. Did not see this coming.
I don't know.
Just a little.
Even Siri can't believe it. He has, I think, sort of smartened up a little bit. He's not like a lot of the antics that he did that got people to, his lot, if you will. A lot of people thinking he was an arrogant punk and all that. I give him credit. He was not really that guy yesterday. And I think him smartening up is a big reason why that team actually became a lot more professional and now are champions right now. But I did not see it. I mean, listen, this was a 1-point spread. You knew it could go either way. The history was always with the Chiefs of finding it away. Philly came in, punched him in the mouth. There was no...
Never really gave him a chance to find the way, right? Like, it was just simple as that. Like,
No, it was a long day. But we're bearing the lead. Whatever about the Chiefs. Shout out to the fellas. I guess Jake's the big winner, but Patty, you killed it too in the prop contest.
Yeah, Jake. The nail in the coffin was that garbage time touchdown from D-Hop, which Huss, I don't know how you defend his comments after the game talking about refs. Are you guys going to report on this? You guys lost by a bajillion points. Give me a break.
That was weird, man. I did not see that coming from him.
No, brutal. But I mean,
you should worry about that drop that he had early on. Like
1,000%. I was just going to say. Like, I mean, the Chiefs didn't look like the Chiefs yesterday. The Chiefs looked like the team that they time in, time out come into a game and look prepared. Yeah, absolutely. The Kansas City Jaguars, that's who they looked like last night. And it was Mac Jones under center for Kansas City last night.
I did see that joke going around. Did you see that one with the Mac Jones jersey?
I've never seen the Chiefs so unprepared before. So unbelievably unprepared, uninspired, no emotion. And I don't know if it's because this was a team that, hey, it doesn't matter. We're going to get the job done. It's okay. We're in this one. I don't know if it was a lack of urgency. I don't know what it was, Huss. You know the pulse of this team better than anyone, but that was disgusting. I could not believe the lack of urgency and anything. Because, I mean, you go back to, and Jake, I think I might have an idea what hat you're wearing on today. You go back to the 28-3 game. You go back to what the Patriots did. You see those clips of Brady on the sideline. You see the defense saying, we got Brady. It's fine. There was no panic there, but they looked confident. They looked like we're still in this, whereas the Chiefs just looked like it was over. And I've never seen that from this group. I don't know what the hell it was.
They got humiliated on the line of scrimmage. And when that happens, the field position in the first quarter too. I mean, they needed to get a few first downs, and they just, even when Hurts threw that pick, well, they had it on the 3-yard line, did nothing with it. And the next thing you know, Philly's got it right in their own end again. I mean, it was, Jake, where are you at? Or do you just want to take a victory lap for your incredible pick? Did any Eagle player have 2 touchdowns?
No,
that was spread out.
I was 4-2 though. A lot of things to take a victory lap about today, Huss. Me, Tom in the building. Just like big
your boy
dynasty
Drake
of the Chiefs, man. Like it's just it's super unfortunate that this is where we're at.
How a
Big
Patriots
Pat
chance can do a
Mahomes
victory lap.
Slaughters now in the Super Bowl. 3-2, not too great. I mean, he's really good with the garbage time stats, make it look like it's not too bad, but I don't know, Tosh. This is going to be a tough one to bounce back from, buddy.
Hey, shouldn't you be doing draft prep for that number 3 pick?
Long road to 7, brother. That's all I know. Just a little bit longer now with this game. No, I mean, pretty crazy ride. Patty told me to dress up nice and good, so I made sure to have this stuff ready on deck. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I sat there for an hour after the game and just like engulfed myself in Brady over Mahomes tweets. And I don't know if you saw, I was retweeting everything that came across my timeline.
I blocked you.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, listen, like, I mean, Brady never got like a chance to get the three-peat. That was the one thing we did talk about, Huss. Like, Mahomes got there, but then to have the showing that they had yesterday, it was very unfortunate. It felt like they were more worried about their pregame fits. First of all, what the hell was Kelsey wearing? And the fact that he had to put it back on post-game was unbelievable. And then Mahomes is walking in wearing Eagles green like he's going to the Eagles funeral to get absolutely slaughtered. The Eagles didn't even blitz. They didn't blitz once in the game, and he was getting absolutely destroyed. Like, it felt like every single time they had something going, sack for a loss of 5, sack for a loss of 4. Like,
you know what? Our O-line was a house of cards all season long, to be honest. I mean, you remember, I mean, like, listen, Joe Thuney's an all-pro guard. They just moved him to left tackle because nobody could block. They thought DJ Humphries would be that guy, and then they said, no, you know what, we're going to stick with that. And listen, credit to them for finding a way to get there and beat, the Bills and beat the Texans to get the number 1 seed to be there. But, I mean, that line just got absolutely exposed. And, we can talk about all sorts of angles to a game and, play by quarterbacks. Your quarterback, and this is why it reminded me of the Tampa game. He was running for his life that entire game against the Buccaneers because they weren't able to protect him. And that was the same thing last night. And even worse, they just did it with the 4 guys up front, which meant that they had extra guys in the back. Cooper DeJeans and whatnot can, get theirs. And I mean, that play.
What was the moment? That's what I was just going to ask you guys, like across the board. What was the moment when you're like, oh man, like this is happening for the Chiefs?
It was the DeJean pick 6
to put them up 17-0, right?
Yeah, once he got in, I mean, it was 10, and I'm like, okay, they've been down 10 a bunch of times before, but oh my God, you got to start getting the offense going, and the offense to come out and put up another 6 the other way. At that point, it was very concerning. Now, again, you never count a guy like Mahomes out at that point. It's still relatively early, but down 17. But for me, Pat, I don't know about you. I mean, just the way the Eagles were rolling, I mean, the confidence that they were playing with on the defensive side of the football, it put no pressure on it. It wasn't a big deal that Barkley wasn't eaten. And then when you saw Jalen Hurts, a couple of those big runs that he made, a couple great plays on third down, and the Chiefs making some mistakes that, frankly, they don't normally do as well, penalty-wise. So,
as much as I've been, enjoying this and throwing out the memes and laughing, I live bet the Chiefs when they went down. I think it was after that interception. I did it. It was
when they were down 17-0.
I said, "Why the hell not? This is the Chiefs. Like, they're playing
what
terrible."
What was the number then? It was plus 170 when they were down 10.
It jumped up to like plus 800 at that point, and then after Jake Elliott field goal for 27, it went up to 14-1. I didn't think it was over until the Devonta Smith touchdown. Once that happened, I'm like, okay, it's over. It is now over. Because part of me in the back of my brain was saying, like, holy crap, this is what's going to happen.
I love how it had to get to 34-0 for you to be like, it's over.
I know, which is absolutely nuts. And that just kind of goes to show you the real estate that the Chiefs have in my brain. I'm thinking like, oh my God, this is going to be the perfect exclamation mark on Brady, on Belichick, they're going to match the crazy comeback that they did, and they fell short. And you know what? Hey, it was a $10 bet at 14-1 or whatever it was, plus 900, I think. Who cares? That's what the Super Bowl is all about. But I said to myself, like, they can't possibly play this bad in the second half, and they did. Sure, they got a couple of garbage touchdowns. I don't, two absolute long bombs. I don't know where that was. Why not try that earlier? And I know Mahomes didn't have a lot of time, but there was a lot of times where Mahomes is holding on to the ball way too long, and then he's getting sacked. Like, I will 100% give you this, Huss. That O-line looked terrible. That O-line got absolutely manned. But also Mahomes, that throw to Kelsey on third down, like it bounced twice almost before he even got to Kelsey's hands. The interception that he threw, I know he got bumped into his own line. He just was not himself. He was not himself at all. And for someone who is a Bills fan that has seen this guy be the boogeyman in the closet, and even last game that, he played against the Bills, like, it wasn't his best game, but he made the big throws down the stretch. So I thought it's coming at some point. But what I will tell you, it has made me realize two things. One, I think the Commanders are a lot closer to being in a spot where they could be competing for a Super Bowl a lot closer, because I know they got the doors blown off them. But look at what the Eagles just did.
The Eagles are a
Chiefs.
great football team, man. Like, yeah.
The second thing is, if the Buffalo Bills don't absolutely completely change the look of that D-line, go out, try to get a guy like Myles Garrett, try to go get Max Crosby, try to figure something out, sign Chase Young, do whatever you have to do, because the Eagles and now the Buccaneers have put out a game plan, and the only way that you are going to beat Patrick Mahomes if he is under duress the entire game. That's the only way it's going to happen. The Bills have not been able to do that at all. All.
And Patty, under duress rushing 4.
Yeah, that's the key.
Because he's a blitz beater, right?
100%.
That was the whole thing.
100%.
He was able to rush 4 and get the pressure that they needed. Like Huss said, I mean, it's so underrated protecting the quarterback, what that does for a football team. You think about a lot of those great Patriots teams as well. Like, a lot of the times, Brady was really well protected, and that was the difference maker. And last night we saw what happened with Mahomes not being protected and just being uncomfortable all night long. And even when he's not being pressured, he's thinking about the pressure that's come all game. So, yeah, I mean,
Eli Manning's got two rings because of that. I mean, Strahan, JPP, those guys, they weren't blitzing, and that's how they kept the Patriots down. I mean, listen, everyone knows it's just a matter of whether you can do it. And a combination of the house of cards offensive line kind of really being exposed, but those beasts up front for Philly, that was where that game was won. I mean, they were.
But what about the defense, Huss? What about the defense? There's no excuse for that. Trent McDuffie was getting beaten like a rented mule all game long. Like, the defense.
Listen, I've got nothing bad to say about the defense. They were holding them in there. I thought they did a great job on Saquon Barkley. Hurts executed. But listen, when you're on the field the entire time and you're in tough spots, I mean, at a certain point, Jalen Hurts made some big plays. And I mean, it's not like this is just a mid team. I mean, we've seen what they've done running wise all season long. They said, okay, you're going to stop Barkley. No problem. They designed some runs for Hurts. I mean, at a certain point, you need your offense to step up and do something. And they didn't. As I say, to me, this game was lost on the offensive side. If they had done anything, I think it gives the Chiefs defense a bit of a leg up to do some more things positively, but they did everything they could to hang around to keep them in the game, and they just got nothing on the other side, and that's why this game was basically over at halftime.
But I mean, can you not get off the field once? Like, Steve, I heard all week long that Steve Spagnuolo is this absolute, defensive genius, and he's going to blitz Jalen Hurts into oblivion. And it's like, I get it. I totally understand what you're saying, Huss. They were gassed, and you could see that evidently as the game progressed. But even early on, It just, they get a couple of stops. That's great. And then it falls apart. So I will give you it. Fatigue certainly goes to there, but
amazing that Barkley didn't get any big ones later on in the game.
No,
because
nothing.
They kept on giving it to him.
And I'll give them full credit.
It was his long rush, 6-7 yards?
It was definitely not over 24.5.
No, and that's the thing. Like, Spags did a fantastic job stopping the run, but when it came to getting off the field on third down, and maybe you give credit to AJ Brown and Devonta Smith for being just, tremendous wideouts, but like it just seemed anytime I felt like, okay, here's a chance they can get this third down stop. Like it just did not come. It just didn't come.
Jalen Hurts was terrific. I mean, that's the one thing, like there's so much talk about the three-peat and the Kansas City Chiefs losing. I mean, Jalen Hurts was outstanding. I don't know if this will be remembered as a Jalen Hurts game, but a couple of touchdowns, 5 incompletions, ran the ball for 72 yards. What'd you say, us?
I said it should be. Like,
that's what I mean. I just don't know if it will because of the way that what we just talked about. The Eagles' front basically was the big key in this game, right? Like,
yeah. Well, and listen, we all know what the narratives are. The Jakes of the world are dancing on the grave of dancing on the grave. It's all about the Chiefs. Like, it's not really about Philly at all for being Super Bowl champions. It's about they were the guys that went and fed it to Kansas City after they've done it over and over and over again. I will say this, as depressed as I was last night throughout the second half and afterwards, I still, it needs to be put into perspective how special this run is and the fact that, this is Mahomes' 5th Super Bowl, 7 straight AFC championship games. That just simply doesn't happen. And you know what? They're going to have to go and it'll be a long off season.
Let me ask you this, Huss. Will Travis Kelce be around for another one?
Great question. I was thinking going in, and I think I said this last week, if they had won, I think I would have bet that he probably would have retired. I don't think he wants to go out like that with this final game. So as of right now, if you ask me, I think he probably comes back for one more year.
What do you guys think?
I tend to agree. Like, I thought for sure it was an absolute no-brainer that, like, Kelce, if they won, he was riding off in the sunset with Taylor. If they won, he looked really pissed off and sounded really pissed off in the presser, and for good reason. Like, he was a non-factor last night. He was a non-factor against the Bills. I think he still has a lot of football left in him. I don't know. It just all depends. Like, how much does he still really like football? Does he want to continue this? Does he want to work his bag off all season long? Or does he want to, travel with Taylor and go to Ibiza and be on a yacht and have an unbelievable podcast and media career with his brother? Like, what does he want to do? That's ultimately, he has 2 fantastic options. Run it back with the Chiefs. Yeah. And let's be honest, for as much grave dancing as we're doing, the Chiefs are going to be back. The Chiefs have an opportunity to go for 4 Super Bowls out of 3. Another thing that, not any team or only one other team has been able to do. Like, they still have an opportunity here. I think they have to go out and address some things, offensive line being one of them. Hey, maybe investing in a little more toys for Mahomes. Like, I think the whole, hey, Mahomes could make stars out of thin air thing, I think we could put that to rest. Like, we saw it all season long. Like, this team got by the skin of their teeth. They are lucky that they even got to this point, because there were so many times where they got lucky. They're still a fantastic team. They still have this opportunity ahead of them. But if they just run it back with the same roster,
game. You can say that, but so maybe a couple games go the different way. There's still 13 wins.
No, Huss. That's what I'm saying though. Like, I still don't think you can run it back after getting absolutely shit canned in the Super Bowl.
No.
Like, they have to go out and address their O-line, and they have to go out and get a big shiny toy for.
Back.
Well,
yeah,
Rasheed Rice will be around next year, right?
That's true.
Well,
Right.
totally.
That's true,
I mean, Hollywood
Rasheed
Brown
Rice.
missed the entire season.
Another
Rasheed
year
Rice
of
missed
Xavier
both
Worthy.
seasons.
I mean,
Although Rice
But
is
look
probably
at-
going to get suspended for like half the year next year.
But the thing is like, yeah, Rasheed Rice, great player. Hollywood Brown, great player. Look what the Eagles have. They got Saquon Barkley out the backfield. They've got Devonta Smith.
Yeah.
They've got AJ Brown.
Yeah.
Like,
Goddard's a good tight end too.
man, like, I mean, yeah, and they have so many weapons. And I am public enemy number one when it comes to the Eagles. I crapped on them all year long. I said they were frauds. I was a hater. But for what they were able to do in the offseason, like, you know, you got to give Howard Roseman a whole ton of credit. They go out, like, they did this with two coordinators, brand stinking new coordinators.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore as their OC, they hire him. They get Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator. They get Barkley. They get Gardner Johnson. They turn Zach Bond into one of the best linebackers in the NFL. They get Becton, Quinion Mitchell. They draft Cooper DeJean as well, who is one of the most electric players in the NFL now. You know, they just completely revamped the way that team looks. And a lot of the times when you have that much turnover, it's a bad thing because it takes a long time. But I think the culture that they have in that organization, despite what we like, maybe the noise on the outside really wasn't the noise going inside in that locker room. Everyone's saying like,
Yeah.
you know, they're gonna get rid. You know, they need to fire Sirianni. That you know, AJ Brown hates Jalen Hurts. Like all this stuff. Maybe that was fabricated by the media and was blown out of proportion.
Well, you know what was funny?
to me-
Even they were winning last night before AJ Brown had that touchdown. It looked like him and Sirianni were sniping at each other on the bench too. Like I remember
Huss,
seeing the guys I'm with, they're up by 10 and they're going at it. Like that was one of the few moments where I actually had a little bit of hope.
But
It was
Huss,
quickly
let's not
extinguished.
But let's not forget, Travis Kelce almost got arrested last year for elderly abuse, screaming at Andy Reid last year in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady notoriously MFs all his teammates. A little bit of dissension. Like, as a Bills fan, I want more of that. I want more of that. Everyone eats. We love each other. That's awesome. That's great. I want someone to go into someone else's face, grab them by the face mask and say, wake the F up. That's what I was waiting for from Travis Kelce last night. That's what I was waiting for Mahomes. Instead, they looked like a bunch of guys that just watched their dog get shot, and there is no heartbeat, no pulse. And that is so rare because we see so many times where it's either Mahomes pats himself on the chest, said, I got this, or it's Kelce, who's more of the rah guy, is up there screaming in guys' faces and saying, let's wake up. That shot, like, should win a Pulitzer for crying out loud. The shot of them all in a line on the bench, dead face, deadpan.
That
So good.
That was unbelievable.
And they managed to focus in on Kelce. At that point, it was done. Hey, Dusty, I meant to ask you, how were the festivities last night with the fellas?
Well, it was pretty good. Eric walked into work this morning at about 5:58 with his pants undone. He's like, sorry, boys, I'm running a little bit late. And his pants were undone. I was like, buddy, you got to get your act together. So he was the last one there. I got a hotel just down the street from work here. I was actually in bed by like midnight, so it wasn't too bad. Festivities were good though. I did not at the casino because when we hit halftime, I snuck over to play some roulette. So when I got back to the hotel, I watched the halftime show when I got back to the hotel last night from start to finish. We have not got to that yet. I said this morning, and I think, like, to me, if you're a fan of Kendrick Lamar, you probably really liked it. I'm not into his music. I haven't listened to a lot of that
You're a
stuff.
fan of Drake.
I'm also not a fan. I hate Drake. I mean, I don't know anything really about Kendrick Lamar, and I hate Drake. So, I mean, I thought it was okay. I mean, Jake, what'd you think of the halftime show?
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people online, like, I just don't understand what we're doing with these halftime shows anymore. Like, half those songs I didn't even know. Like, I know we're all waiting for Not Like Us, and I just feel like if you're there to watch, a lot of people, I think you would agree, if you're at a Super Bowl party, not a lot of people are into the actual football. There might be a handful of people there for the football. A lot of people want to see the commercials, and a lot of people are excited for the halftime show. Well, now we're rolling out halftime shows where we don't even know half the songs that this guy has, and he's not even playing the songs that the people do know. So I don't know. It's a little confusing to me where they're going with this. I know Jay-Z is a correspondent on, who's going to be the next halftime show, along with because Apple Music's now the sponsor of it or whatever. So I don't know. It didn't really move the needle for me. I think I've loved Drake for a long time. I think Not Like Us is a really catchy song. I don't know. Outside of that, I didn't think it was wow, all-time halftime show. I actually think a lot of people thought it was maybe the worst one of all time. So, yeah, tough.
And the funny thing is, I'm with you. I think for a lot of people, it was sort of whatever. Guy's a great rapper, but I mean, it's not like you really could understand what he was saying.
No.
There was no subtitles or whatever. But I mean, this is the biggest opportunity, the biggest audience he'll ever have. And he still made it all about Drake. In some ways,
it's tough.
I'm not going to say it's a win for Drake because, I mean, this thing gets beat over and over again. But at a certain point, and by the way, how about getting Serena Williams out there to dance too?
Yeah.
One of Drake's exes. Cool. I don't know why she's oh yeah, I'm in. I'll dance on his grave.
Apparently he had a lyric in one of his songs about her husband or something. Her husband's a groupie or something like that. There was a Drake lyric that was against Serena. So, and then I think Kendrick mentions her and Not Like Us as well. I was watching that today. But Huss, it's like us Patriots guys making the Super Bowl all about Brady versus Mahomes as opposed to about the Eagles. Kendrick made his halftime show all about Drake. So it's I don't know, is it a rent-free thing?
Drake and the Patriots are in similar situations right now.
Right? It's I don't know.
I'll kind of keep it, short and sweet, or try to at least. First and foremost, no Mad City is a crime against humanity. The fact that he didn't play that song, that would have been absolutely electric. It is. No J-Rock as well. I guess must have got maybe his flight from California from the show the night before, which Big Mape claims that I must have got that from a wrong website or whatever it was. But I swear to God, I saw something on the internet saying that he had a show before. First and foremost, I think again, whether you're a fan of Kendrick Lamar, hip hop or anything, I think it's just far too niche for a Super Bowl show. If that's at the Grammys, I think we're all talking, not us maybe, but people online are saying wow, what a performance. If you go online, there was a lot of symbolism in the with Uncle Samuel L. Jackson being there.
Yeah, they broke it down nicely of all that stuff, the inside stuff.
Yeah, so so when you break that, it's wow, okay, very cool messaging, pretty powerful stuff. But for a Super Bowl halftime show, and I get it, he's using his platform to have that message, and then the back half of it to stuff Drake in a locker. That's what he chose. And then hey, when you're you have that opportunity. But for me personally, I'll just go back to what I was saying, and this is not a hip hop versus other genres things, because when the Dr. Dre halftime, I thought that was
electric.
That was
my
electric.
favorite show of all time.
All bangers.
They did the hits. They did the hits.
They played the hits. They brought up. So if Kendrick brought more people out and played more bangers, and I get it, that's the type of lyricist he is. He's you got to think deeper. And again, I get it. And that's great. And again, if you appreciate that, you're going to appreciate it. But for the Super Bowl, it just didn't really make much sense as a choice for me. I never really understood the choice. And obviously, look at what he was able to do at the Grammys. It's not like he's this middle tier rapper. He's probably the most popular rapper on the planet right now.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think you got to keep it, down the middle, pick artists that everyone knows. It doesn't matter who it is. People are going to complain anyways. One generation isn't going to get it. So it's really tough to keep everyone happy.
That's what we were asking today. If you're watching right now over on YouTube, we're 54 likes away from 100. I think we could have our first ever 100 like Lock Shop show with all of you watching right now. Just hammer the thumbs up for us. It'd be pretty memorable that our first ever 100 like show was the morning after us as Chiefs lost. No, but we were asking this morning, like, you mentioned, like, he's a monster, but it might be considered niche for the whole Super Bowl audience. So we were asked, like, okay, well, who would you pick then next year? And I don't even know if I know music well enough to pick that guy. Has Post Malone done one?
No,
he did the pregame show.
But I could
YouTube.
Like Post Malone brings out Morgan Wallen, brings like something like that. I could see something like that happening. Like, hey,
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I think if you did some sort of like country, and it all depends where it is too. Like if once the Titans build that new stadium and they have a Super Bowl in Tennessee, maybe it's Post Malone.
Yeah, because he just dropped that album with like everybody.
Yeah.
Tim McGraw, like everybody's on there. Like,
so if you did some
where
sort
is
of
the next year's Super Bowl?
I believe it's Inglewood. I think it's at Levi Stadium.
San Fran,
yeah.
Oh,
but I think when you
not
San
SoFi.
Fran.
San Fran, yes. Oh, sorry, not SoFi. Levi Stadium.
Yeah.
Levi's,
Yeah.
Huh.
I think though when you look back at some of the greatest like Super Bowls per halftime shows, like Prince, you guys mentioned Dr. Dre. I think Prince has to go in there. Like that one was absolutely unbelievable. It's again, it has to transcend like. Of course, like the older folks would love like if they ran it back with like Bruce Springsteen, but then the younger generations could be like, who the hell is this dude? So it's the perfect halftime show, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, would be like a Taylor Swift. But one,
you son of a
not
bitch.
going to do it.
Unbelievable. We might finally get away from this. And here you are, Taylor Swift. I can't believe you, Patty.
Pander. That's a pander pick from Patty.
She's not going to do it because she's not going to pay that money. She's too big of a superstar.
All of her money's invested in Travis Kelce's hair plugs anyway, so you don't got to worry about it.
So that's not happening. But like someone of that magnitude but still, even with Taylor Swift, if she was there, she's the megastar. She's the most popular artist on the world. There would still be about half the people watching saying, this is brutal. This is awful. Get this off my TV.
It always
there's no one. I don't know, maybe Creed. Maybe it's Creed, and we get Creed on.
I already said Creed has the most memorable NFL performance of all time. I mean, how do they not get a shot at the halftime show? Like
every time we talk about performances, it always finds its way back to Creed.
Can you imagine if they just recreated that dude flying through the air again? That would be nuts. God.
Hey, just while we're talking about musical performances here for a minute, you guys mentioned the Grammys. Now, I'll admit, I did not watch a second of the Grammys. I don't think I have in 20 or 25 years. However, with the advent of social media, are you guys familiar with this guy, Benson Boone?
Yeah.
I am now.
Did you see the what he did at the Grammys? That honestly was one of the cool. I've watched that thing probably
I didn't
like
see
8
what he
or
did.
9 times.
What did he do with the Grammys?
So he's sitting there at a table.
Yeah.
And he's in a suit. And he pulls out a mic out of his jacket and just starts singing this song. And I will admit, it's a very popular song. Can't remember what it's called. Beautiful Things, maybe, or something like that.
Great tune, actually. Yeah. My kids love it.
Then he walks around and these two hotties each grab and they rip off his suit. He does a one piece, just goes and grabs the pants, rips it off, and then he's in this crazy blue one piece jumper. But he keeps singing. He goes up on stage, steps on the piano chair
and
on top of the piano and does a freaking flip.
I saw the flip. I didn't know how it started, but I saw the flip. Yeah.
Who is this guy? Anyways, I'm a fan of this guy now. We need more acrobatics like that in truth. Like that is a performer right there.
But
there's an unbelievable move.
Yeah, the thing is, the first time I heard Benson Boone, I'm like, this guy sounds like a left winger from like the Everett Silvertips that plays on Team USA at the World Juniors. Like
Scout
Benson Boone. or like a slot receiver that Bill Belichick is recruiting.
Yeah, I have him
right
deep
now.
in my dynasty league, Benson Boone. I never play him.
Yeah. He's going to be a stud.
That's pretty
Benson
phenomenal
Boone.
stuff there, though. Hey, okay, so we looked ahead. You see the futures for next year's Super Bowl. Not really surprising. Plus 650 on both the Eagles and the Chiefs. After that, the Bills at 7-1, the Ravens at plus 750, the Lions at 8-1, the Commanders at 15-1, Niners at 16-1, Packers 20-1, Bengals 21, Chargers 25-1, Rams 25-1, and Broncos and Bucks and Texans at 30-1. I'm just going to keep going. Damn. I want to stop and I'm like, oh, Vikings 35-1. The Bears 40-1. After that, you lose me. After the Bears, well, Cowboys are 50-1.
Yeah.
Outside of that, you kind of lose me a little bit. But any early thoughts on what we're seeing right now on that futures board for the 25 season?
So at first glance, I mean, obviously the short ones, the Eagles, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, and Lions, I think you can really make a case for any of those teams based off what we saw this year. I talked about the Commanders. I think they're a lot closer to running it back than rather being a flash in the pan. So at 15-1, probably would like it a little bit longer there. Someone talk me out of the Rams at 25-1. Please, someone. I know no Cooper Kupp, but the way that defense, how well they perform down the stretch, at a sprinkle at 25-1, I really like them. 49ers at 16-1 is staring me at the face, but I know that is a bad idea. I know that is a terrible, terrible idea. But part of me is like, maybe this year was just a blip on the radar and they get back to who they are. Me personally, I don't think that, but there's that little same thing with me yesterday watching that game saying, oh, it's 27-0. Chiefs still have a chance here. That same little devil in the back of my head is saying, well, the 49ers just had a bad season. They're still the 49ers. They could get back there, right?
I don't mind Minnesota at 35-1. I think that's that number. Like, I don't know why they're below Denver, Tampa,
Houston.
Because they're going with the rookie quarterback, maybe, because we haven't seen JJ McCarthy.
I get.
It's got to be the only reason.
Aaron Rodgers.
Well, we'll get to Rodgers here in a second too. I got it on the list.
Is that? Listen,
the number should be lower or higher, I guess. If it should balloon. If,
what do you think happens to Rodgers, boys?
There.
Where does he end up?
like, does he want to keep playing?
I mean, that'd be question number one. We were asking today on our show in the morning. We're like, what does he do post-retirement? Like, does he just go away? Is he just do a McAfee show once a week and then living in the woods? Does he flip to the dark side and join the media because there's going to be a big paycheck there because somebody will get him? What do you think he does?
No, he's going to go.
Where's he?
RFK in the
he's going to become a politician. That makes sense.
You know,
right.
in the federal in the FDA, they're going to remake food.
I don't like if he's going to be a media star, he's not going to be on ESPN. What is he going to be like? Start InfoWars sports? Like I just Alex Jones. Like
that would be all time.
Like I just don't know. Like I don't see him going to like mainstream. I actually have no idea. You could tell me he ends up on the Vikings this year. You could also tell me he retires and we never hear of this guy ever again. But he's such an egomaniac. There's no way he doesn't stay out of the limelight, right?
I don't see it.
I agree.
I don't think he's done playing yet, boys. I think he's gonna do one last.
Where does he go though?
Here.
What do you think he does?
I know I'm looking at it here like does he go across to the other dressing room? Giants? Does he go like the Falcons made an awful decision last year quarterbacking? They just make another awful decision, bring in Rodgers. They got some.
That'd be
weapons
very
there in
Falcons-y.
Atlanta. Like Steelers would not shock me. They brought in Russell Wilson last year. Like I could see them doing the old
Bo Favre and Minnesota.
Yeah, the Favre to Minnesota would be the ultimate close the loop. Go to the Jets, not play too well. Go to the Vikings, have a slight resurgence, and then go up into the limelight. I think that would be pretty. I mean, what a closed loop that would be.
I mean, I'm here for it if it happens. And to be honest, I think that if he went in there, like kind of realizing where he's at in his career with a good attitude, he might be a guy that could really be positive for JJ McCarthy in that first year. And I don't know if JJ is going to be able to play in the first few weeks of the season anyway. So I do think they're going to need to, have another legitimate option. But man, the stories would write
Vikings
itself.
won 14 games this year.
Yeah.
Like, I know it didn't work out in the playoffs with Sam Darnold, but like, if you can, like, Rodgers just has to be really serviceable the way Darnold was. And that defense did a lot of the work. KOC, JJ, you got some good weapons there. Addison, Hawkinson, like.
That's why, regardless of the QB, like the 35-1's a decent number on them.
I think they're a much better team. I mean, that are being slept on a little bit. There's not a.
I think it's who's playing quarterback, right? If it's JJ, how much are you putting trust in a rookie quarterback? Are you bringing someone in to bridge the gap to get him fully healthy? That's the tough spot. It's such an important position, right?
I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole until I know who's, like, I would much rather, and it's crazy that I'm saying this, I'd rather the unknown of JJ McCarthy, because you know what you're getting with Aaron Rodgers. You're getting a guy that can't move in the pocket anymore because his Achilles is made out of paper mache. He's going to be a distraction.
He should retire. He should retire.
He should just retire 1,000%.
Where do you guys think Debo would fit?
Debo. Washington?
Oh boy, I don't.
No, I hadn't thought of Washington yet.
Maybe. No.
Washington's going to be using their cap space. They're going to be focusing on the defensive side of the ball. Like,
they have to.
I think we've seen with Scary Terry there. I mean, Jalen Daniels makes these other receivers legitimate threats, like Zacchaeus and all those guys. I mean, I don't doubt that they might add a guy or two, but if you're looking at, a 20 million plus player, I think they've got to be focusing on one of those guys. And listen, they've got picks. They've got a lot of young guys. I think if they have to move off their first round pick, but they can get a guy like Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons, they got to do it.
Yeah. I think that Washington seems like a great landing spot for for Myles Garrett. In terms of Debo, like, someone just in the Mavericks says Bills, like, one, first and foremost, absolutely not. They don't have the cap space to fit a guy
Chargers,
like Debo in there.
Chargers, I don't mind that one. I was thinking that one too.
Harbaugh would like a nice shiny toy like Debo that can kind of do everything.
Imagine some of the gadget stuff that you could get going with Debo. They had a good run game last year, and the minute the run game gets going, like, it opens up so much for Herbert. I mean, that would be an interesting one. That's the one thing, not the one thing, but one of the things the Chargers are missing is that second piece, right? We saw how good McConkey was. And you think about that playoff game, he was really their only guy on the offensive side that was really making a stink out there. And I think, like, a second guy, not a lot of trust in Quentin Johnson with those hands.
What do we think? What about, I already talked about him when I'm talking about the Rams. What do we think? Cooper Kupp, where does he land?
Great question.
Yeah. I don't know where Cooper Kupp ends up.
I know he's not the same player that he once was, but I still
there's still be some game there a little bit.
Absolutely. I think a team that's close to contending, adding a guy like him into that locker room as a number 2 receiver. I know the ticket's pretty expensive, but the intangibles that he'll bring into that locker room, and like you said, he's still got a lot left on the table. Like, is it a team like, I don't know, like the Broncos, or do the Bengals try to fill a void?
I was going to say the Bengals.
There, like,
if T. Higgins goes, he would be. I mean, I could see Burrow really getting into a groove because Kupp is such a great route runner.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to have a big hole if they aren't able to keep T. Higgins, and I don't think that's going to be the case. So to me, the Bengals actually would be. It would be a nice plan B to move off what's been a really dynamic passing offense the last number of years.
Yeah, because like one of my buddies, when that I sent you guys the group chat, and then like 3 seconds later in my Buffalo Bills group chat, someone sends it in there and it says the Bills should be all in on Cup, and it's like this might be just my Buffalo Bills brain speaking, but like you've got Khalil Shakir, he's a significantly cheaper option and a guy that can pretty much do the same thing, if
Similar
not
style.
more at this point, right? Similar style. So why are you bringing in a guy like Cup? And like I said, the Bills are so tied right now in cap hell, not as bad as they were this year. If they're spending a lick of money this offseason, it is going to that D-line because they have seen how you can beat the Chiefs. And if they can't generate any pressure, they will never beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. It's just not going to happen.
Okay, let's wrap up with this. We're in Four Nations tomorrow. First game's on Wednesday. We'll have a full-blown Four Nations preview tomorrow. Canada, Sweden on Wednesday. We'll get into that. Just for funsies, and we won't hold anybody to it. But who wins next year's Super Bowl? One pick. Who you taking?
Chiefs.
Please say Bills, Patty.
I'll say Lions.
Whoa. All right.
Oh, wow. I'll take a longer shot. I'll go. I'm such a sucker for Joe Burrow. I'll go Bengals 20-1.
Ooh, I like that.
Such a sucker.
You said Super Bowl, not Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I'll go
Yeah.
Raven. I'll go Ravens. I'll go Lamar getting it done. I'll go Ravens. So what we got? We got Dust. Did you drop a Pro Bowl burn there?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, I did.
What a nice way for you to wrap up this show. You know, of all those things, still snuck in a Bengals Pro Bowl
Nice
burn.
thing at the Bengals.
Yeah, so we got Lions, we got Ravens, we got Bengals, and of course we've got the Kansas City Chiefs. But what's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk today, us?
Well, I mean, it's
Hey, good news is you're not getting fired tomorrow. So
no,
that's
exactly. If you're not firing
win.
myself. So that's the one thing I am sure that I'll be up and have a show tomorrow. Our buddy Brandon Rowicki, big Eagles guy, having him on the program. We'll talk about the game. Lapo's going to come on actually and look
nice.
ahead to CFL free agency. And the one thing I can say happily is I still have the Jets in my life. As you tweeted yesterday, Dusty, I move on. It's one day of mourning, not a week. It's one day, move past the Super Bowl. And then tomorrow, we're fired up for Four Nations. We're going to make some picks. There's tons of props up at Coolbet we'll be able to get into. We got games happening. And then next week, we'll be there for the games. We'll do Lock Shop. We'll do WST from Boston. So I am moving forward. And listen, the last time this happened, 4 years ago in this situation, Brady kicked our ass, lost to Tampa. What happened? Just continued winning, giving yourself the opportunity to win. And I remember for 15 years just dreaming of getting to an AFC championship game. So something tells me I think we're going to see a very motivated Patrick Mahomes, the entire organization, to give him a chance to get back. But in the meantime, Jets are the number one team in the league. By the way, I remember I was telling you guys these odds are going to change at the beginning of last week.
Yeah.
They already have. I know they went from 15-1 to 14-1 earlier this week. It has actually went to plus 1250 yesterday, and now they're in a group: Leafs, Devils, Caps, Avs, Jets, all 13-1. Oilers still remain at 6-1 as the favorite, and I'm dreaming of a Jets-Oilers conference final. So
legendary.
I'm going to try and manifest that right now, and we'll worry about the football offseason later.
Well, it's moved because about 75% of the greater Winnipeg area bet it because you were hammering it home so often on this program in WST. That is why it's moved. But a full complement right now of season futures reopened at Coolbet.
Beautiful.
Reopened win totals. The awards are back up. Teams to make and miss the playoffs back up as well. And then, Dusty, you already mentioned it. The Four Nations futures are up. The first two games are up with player props as well. And Crosby, He's on the first power play unit. He's on the second line with Nathan McKinnon. My best bet is over 1.5 goals at plus 120. Get it now before that moves. That is an automatic auto bet. I've already placed it.
And poker tomorrow night. So be ready for that. We'll be setting that up tomorrow as well. Yeah, poker tomorrow night. It's already up. You can go register right now. Download the poker software. Go to tournaments, search Lock Shop, and you can pre-register to join us tomorrow night. That's going to do it for the Lock Shop today. We're about 20 likes away from 100, so hammer that thumbs up before you leave. Oil Stream coming up as well. Winnipeg Sports Talk right away over on WST channel. Nice way to wrap up the NFL season. Really fun show today. For Patty and Jake, I'm Dusty saying, sorry, Huss. Hang in there. They'll try to get one next year for you. All right?
Yeah, let them all.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.